I'm incredibly excited to be here today, and I want to share you this idea that you need to think about success a little bit differently. And I think no matter what field you're in, what field you want to pursue, these ideas will help you redefine how you measure success, and hopefully I can introduce you to a simple framework on how you can achieve success in no matter what you do. My background's in business, so I'm going to draw from a lot of my experiences and things I've learned in that space. But I think as you think about these ideas, think about how it can apply to you personally. In business, success is often defined as something very numerical, or something about where you work or where you live or what you've achieved, normally at the cost of other people. It's very competitive. Take, for example, a common thing to be a successful business person is to go work on Wall Street. What are some of the connotations behind that? Normally someone who's trying to make a lot of money, trying to maximize the profits of their company, trying to crush their competition. It's a zero-sum game. I win, you lose, I'm a successful CEO, you're not. That's who successful business people are. But in my experience, what I've found that the truly successful people in all industries, especially in business, are ones that don't have that zero-sum mentality. They have a different perspective. Those who are truly successful embrace this concept of adding value first, adding more value to their ecosystem than they take out, giving more to their communities than they take out. From a company perspective, they give more to their customers than their customers pay for their services. On an individual level, every time they interact with someone on their team, their friends, their families, a stranger they meet on the street, they're thinking about how can I add more value to that person, make their lives better in what I'm doing today. And I think that is the definition of success you guys should think about. The truly successful people are not trying to be number one so other people are number two. They're not trying to beat other people. They're just thinking about whether it's me on my own or me with my team or me with other people, how can I be successful by just adding more value in the world? And so today I'm going to talk about a really big example from a company level, and then I'm going to kind of distill it down to some techniques you guys can think about as you go in your day-to-day on how you can embrace this idea and kind of apply it starting right after this. But let's talk about two real-life companies. So for now, I'm going to call them Company A on the left and Company A on the right and Company B on the left. They're two real-life consumer device companies. Company A spends very little money on advertisement, almost nothing, versus their competition, Company B spends about $2 billion a year. Company A lets others copy their technology. They make a lot of cool stuff, but Company B can actually copy everything Company A does, release the same product, and not pay Company A a dime for it. On the other side, Company B protects their technology really, really carefully. They have vaults and securities and passwords, and if you even think about stealing it, they're going to send a team of lawyers after you, so you can't get too far away. Company A, once you buy their product, upgrades it every single day and doesn't charge you anything for it. Your product's getting better and better and better. You're not paying a dime for that. While Company B releases a new version each year, and normally it's not too different from last year's version, but you have to pay for that. And that's how they innovate. Now, based on what you kind of see here, on the typical definition of success of a company that's growing fast, high-value companies or companies that are growing fast, making more money this year than they did last year, who think Company A is going to be more successful? Who thinks Company B is going to be more successful? That's like everybody. Well, I'll show you two numbers. Company A, this year versus last year, grew by 52%. They sold 52% more stuff this year than last year. Company B, on the other hand, actually shrunk by about 0.5%. So it means they sold about 0.5, 0.6% less stuff this year than they did last year. How does that make any sense? Well, Company A is Tesla Motors. Company B is pretty much every other car company that exists. This is kind of the average of the industry. And this doesn't make any sense. I mean, obviously Tesla's a bit smaller than these guys, but if you think about what's value, what's success, in business it's growing really fast, and Tesla is destroying everybody else in the industry. And why is that? Well, let me walk you through some of the points. So the first thing we talked about was marketing. There's a few reasons why. One, Tesla doesn't have as much money as the big guys, but they could choose to spend some money on putting out great ads during the Super Bowl. They have that kind of cash. But their founder, their CEO, one, believes that marketing in many ways is deceitful to customers, doesn't really add value back to them. And he believes that if I just put that money back into making a really good product that adds more value to people, the product will sell itself. People will talk about it. And that's how he gets so much free press, because his car is just leaps and bounds of better than everything else on the market. In terms of the second point of having his technology outsourced, every single patent, everything that makes this Tesla, the Tesla, is free in the market for anyone to look at, copy, reuse, incorporate in their product. And why is he doing this? He could obviously charge people for that. He could license his technology and make more money. But his mission, his definition of success is not to be the next $100 billion car company. His mission for success is to add more value to the world by removing the need for fossil fuels to transport us around. It's to start an electrical revolution, a sustainable energy revolution. And so his success is that he'd love it if the Hondas and the Toyotas in the world all copied it and made their own electrical cars, because that is success to him, and that's why he's growing so fast. If you think about the third point of free upgrades, he's thinking about you as the consumer. Buying a Tesla is expensive. It's about $100,000. But it doesn't cost him any extra to make your car better. He's trying to make the car better. He's trying to make new improvements every single day. So why not share that with you if it doesn't cost him a dime? That's the way to think about success, is if it doesn't cost me anything, why don't I help you and make your life better? And that's what I think is making Tesla such a successful company. And if you look at all the new age Silicon Valley companies where you either aspire to work there or start your own, think about this. And all that matters is, how do you add value to other people? Everything else will follow. Now, when I started this talk, I talked about, this is what companies do, this is what communities do, but how do you do this on an individual level? Well, I'll give you two techniques you can think about and a little bit of a playbook in how you can apply that in your day-to-day life. So the first one is what I call being an operator, being a switchboard operator. And so you're definitely too young for this. I think I'm probably too young for this too. But back in the day, if I wanted to call Blake, let's say, I'd call this main room and I'd say, I want to talk to Blake. And they're like, okay, hold please. And they'll move this wire from one place to another place. Technology does it all automatically today. And basically, I get connected to Blake and we talk about our day. But think about how you can replicate this in your day-to-day life. So let's say you meet a friend who is really looking for a job, and you notice down the street there's a Starbucks that is hiring. A great way that you can help them is by introducing them to that manager. Maybe you know them. Maybe they're a family friend. Maybe you shop there every single day before you go to school to get your coffee or hot chocolate on the way to school or to work. And so one way you can add value to other people is just by introducing them to other people that they've never met before, connecting disparate networks together, smashing them together and seeing what happens. Other ways to do that is connect them to information that they may not have access to. Let's say they're studying for a test for a class that you might have taken the previous year, or you know someone else who's taken before, and you have all these notes. There's two schools of thoughts. I could hoard all this information to make sure I have the highest grades in the school, I get ranked #1. But if I already done this work, why not share it with everyone else? Because it's going to make them better off, it's going to make them more successful, and it doesn't cost me anything to do that. So why not share this information with others and connect them to this information that I have, that I compiled, that now I can freely share because it's been put together. Think about, really people that you might think are really impressive that you want to get to know. Maybe there's a speaker on the stage that you're nervous to talk to. Think about, what are their needs? What are their wants? Maybe you met a speaker at another conference you've gotten to know. You can connect the both of them if they have shared interests. And that's another way you can add value, by connecting disparate communities together and seeing what happens. The other idea is thinking about time. And so a lot of people come to me saying, you know what? I don't know anyone interesting. I don't have any experience. There's nothing I can add value to other people, and I'm just a high school student. I don't know anything. Fine. If you feel that way, I don't think that's true, but if you feel that way, think about the one asset that you do have versus everyone else is you have a lot of time that you can deploy however you want. If there's someone really busy that you want to get to know and you want to work with, think about how you can offer your time as value to them. Is there a project they need help on, some research they need doing? Maybe you're trying to get to know a teacher in a field that you're really interested in. Maybe they need help marking some tests or typing up a lessons plan or reviewing some work. You have time that's an asset that the really busy, interesting people that you want to meet don't have. And that's huge value that you can bring to the table. This is another way you can add value to people, is just putting your time into causes that you care about and seeing that as huge value to other people, because that's the one asset that is very finite. It only has 24 hours in the day. So if you can add another 24 hours with your time, that's huge, huge, huge value to people that you want to work with. So to think about, okay, I agree that success should be about helping people. I like these techniques, but how do I start? How do I do this today? Well, I'll walk you through kind of a 5-step process. This is what I do in my day-to-day. Every time I try to meet somebody, I kind of go through these things in my head to think about how can I help this person. And it starts by me first guessing how I might help this person. And as we heard in the last talk, there's a whole wealth of information about everyone online. And so it doesn't hurt to look them up, understand what are their interests, what do they like, what do they not like, where do they work, where do they go to school, are they planning a conference, does it look like they're trying to get help on a test or applying for some kind of scholarships, and make some guesses on how can I help this person. And when you meet them, start with an open question to learn more about them. My favorite question, and I'm guilty for using this all the time. If I talk to you, I'm probably going to ask you this question because I do it all the time. I ask people, what's keeping you busy? Because this one question unlocks so much information. Because everyone thinks they're busy. What's keeping you busy? Oh, well, I got this test. I'm trying to work on this job. I'm trying to save money for this vacation. I want to travel Europe after I graduate, but I don't know how to do that. Oh, life's really stressful. Like, I don't know what university I'm going to go to. Like, oh, I'm just so busy. Thanks for asking. So all of a sudden now you learn all this stuff about this person. It gives you all these hooks to guess, maybe I can help you with this test. I know someone who's really good at calculus. Maybe you guys can chat and share stories and tips. You're trying to save up money? It's like, oh, I know, my brother, the place he works is looking for some part-time help. Maybe I can connect you to that. It gives you a lot of guesses. So once you ask what's keeping you busy, it's a great way to, break a great icebreaker in a conversation because you learn a lot about the other person. And as you have your conversation, think about how you can help them and end that conversation by offering to help and get their acceptance to help. So say, hey, would it be helpful if I introduced you to my friend who took the same course as you, and maybe you can share stories? Would it be helpful if I shared you my notes about, I did a bunch of research on scholarships. I can send you my list of scholarships, and you can go through the list and apply to the same ones that I'm applying to. We can work together to make our applications better. Number 4, super important. Once you offer to help and they accept it, you have to follow up. It's not just enough to offer help and add value in that way. You have to follow through on your commitments. And you want to do this in as genuine a way as possible. And this is really up to you, whether or not you're being genuine or not. You have to make that choice inside. But it's a really important point that the successful people don't just help other people to further themselves. They help other people without the expectation of immediate return. The ecosystem will pay them back eventually. That's the point. You can call it karma, you can call it whatever you want, but it's how do you help people genuinely in every single interaction, whether or not that'll help you today or not. If you can imbue that in your inner self, I think that's what truly successful people are, those who strive to add value to as many people as possible, and that's how they measure success. And really, the last one is practice with as many people as possible. When I was first introduced to this idea from my co-founder, who is the one who kind of got me on this new definition of success, the only way I could really embrace it is by practicing it every single time. Every time I met someone, every time I was at a networking event, at a conference, I tried to practice these techniques. So I challenge you guys today, try it during networking. We specifically talked about having this conversation before the first networking break, because I think it's a great way for you guys to practice. So the next person you meet at networking, if you don't know what to say, you can ask them, hey, have you been at TEDx before? What's keeping you busy? See what they say. And try to end that conversation by finding a way that you can help each other out. Are they planning a conference? Are they applying for a scholarship? Are they trying to find a job? Are they trying to study for a test? Maybe there's something that are none of these things, but figure out how you can help one another, whether that's by helping them out with your time, if it's something you're interested in, or just by connecting to other people you might know who can help them with their problem or whatever they're trying to solve. So at the end of the day, I think the way to rethink about success is not about being number one. It's not about beating the competition. It's trying to think about how do you add more value to other people than you take out of that ecosystem. And that's how you should measure success, purely by the value you add to others. And really, that's what I want to share with you today. Thank you.